You know, from young professionals to retirees to entire families, everyone is flocking to Florida. And it makes sense for the most part. Amazing nightlife, sunshine all throughout the year, and honestly, an opportunity like none other. You know, with that being said, Florida definitely isn't for everyone. And by the end of this video, you're gonna know the exact reasons not to move to Florida. Honestly, we hear it all the time. Should I go to Florida or the Carolinas, Tennessee or Florida? And honestly, I wanna make sure that you have the entire verdict set in stone. You know, let's start off with something that really surprised me the first time, and it's the fact that weather isn't always paradise. Even in places like California, where it's 60s, 70s all throughout, Florida's temperature is hot. Really freaking hot. We're talking about getting all the way up to 90 degrees and even passing that sometimes in June, July, and August. I'm talking about 95 degrees outside with 90% humidity. Not only are you going to be sweating like crazy, you're gonna be sweating again and again and again. You know, I have clients come here from dry climates like Arizona, and honestly, they've never experienced Florida's humidity. And honestly, don't get me started with hurricane season. From June 1st all the way to November 30th, you're always on the lookout. Do I have to go shelter myself? Do I need to evacuate the location? What do I gotta do? Because honestly, that's hurricane season. And if you've known anything about what's happened in Florida, especially in the past few years, you'll know hurricane season is not something to scoff at. I've had clients of mine move here from Michigan last September, and a year and a half later, they're already talking about going to the Carolinas or somewhere else. It's just that hot, and honestly, the weather is completely unpredictable sometimes. And combining with the fact that it's so hot all the time, here's something else that you gotta realize is the homes that you're gonna be staying in when it's crazy, crazy hot. Yeah, it's not an easy cakewalk there either. We're talking about the average home prices in Florida being all the way up to $400,000. In hotter markets like Tampa, Miami, and Orlando, we're looking to blast that number way out the park. Now, right now in today's day and age, yeah, there's a lot more opportunities for buyers all throughout. We're seeing builders create crazy incentives. But hey, the median cost is still so much higher than what it used to be. You know, combine this with the fact that insurance costs can go from $4,000 to $6,000 depending on where you live. In places like Tampa, you can pay all the way up to $12,000 and even more. I've had clients of mine that actually lost their insurance provider all throughout, and they've had to get multiple new revamps, new charges on their account, which means one more thing. Every single time that you have a new policy, you're going to have a different added bill. Even though we don't have state income tax, we have to be sufficient and subsidize that with something else. We're talking about higher bills. We're talking about higher utilities, and honestly, anything and everything that's just home related. You know, I'm sure you've heard all the Florida man stories. Honestly, they're really funny all throughout the year, but there is a reason that they exist. The transient nature of this individual that's living in Florida also means you have no idea who's living in Florida. Combine that with overall the political divide that's definitely hyper prevalent here in multiple locations, then honestly, you don't know which side of the stick you might be on. There's a lot of individuals that come to us all the time that say, listen, I struggle to make friends. It feels so difficult when I'm trying to connect with someone, and the first question they ask me is, hey, listen, what do you think about X, Y, and Z political event that happened last week? We have a lot of people that live in Florida already, a lot of our past clients that live here that struggle so deeply to create bonds and relationships. Now, if you're coming here as a retired person, you just got your wife, your husband, you're not looking for anything else, hey, this isn't pertinent towards you. But if you're a young professional, you're looking to take over the world, and you just want to build those strong networking relationships, you might be able to do that more optimally, professionally, than personally. What's ironic about the whole situation is the fact that every single political spectrum that exists seems to be the wrong spectrum, meaning every single time that we speak with a client, it's, hey, there's more of those kind of individuals than my kind of individuals. And I think that rhetoric as a whole is just extremely disturbing and wrong, but who am I to say anything? You know, combine that with something else. So it's not just the people that are crazy, it's also the wildlife. You know, a little while back, I was just out on a walk with a friend of mine. Her and I were just walking around, minding our own business, nothing crazy were happening. You know, at the corner of my eye, I saw something kind of slithering, right? Didn't stay around to check it out. Would never do that. Grabbed her, we walked out. But that's something that you gotta realize too. Alligators, lizards, snakes, the whole shebang. Our natural wildlife is definitely natural. They love their freedom. We know this too. So make sure you have all that in consideration. I'm talking about clients that are panicking, calling us saying, listen, there was never a 6-foot alligator in my pond in New York. And that's just a normal Tuesday. We're talking about ladybugs that are all throughout your cars. They're annoying, pesky little creatures that are always going to be buzzing in your ear. And listen, that's something that you don't even enjoy. The wildlife aspect of it, Florida definitely will not be the place for you because our animals here, those little critters, yeah, they're all over the place. Look, I've lived in major cities before. I'm talking about Denver, Columbus, Ohio, and even Rochester, New York. I'll tell this to you straight, Florida traffic is by far the worst in the country. I've said it, LA, you can come at me. I-4 is actually considered to be one of the most dangerous roads in the entire country in Orlando. Yeah, that's true. Tampa, where we're from, I mean, let me tell you, to get from St. Pete to Tampa, Tampa to St. Pete used to take maybe 25 minutes. Now it takes over an hour. I-275 is absolutely disgusting as well. It's not just here. Brickell in Miami, don't even get me started with how crazy that's over there. We've got friends of ours that are real estate agents in those markets. I'll tell you one big thing. To get from a listing appointment to back where your house is, that's going to take you at least 2 hours. And that's not because it's a long distance. That's because of the drivers and the traffic. The infrastructure of all Florida has not kept up with the demand that it currently has. Orlando and Tampa, again, are garnering over 1,000 individuals every single day. So I know what you're thinking. You're like, dang, I love Tampa, I love Florida, no state income tax, it's absolutely amazing. But here's the thing. So with that, you gotta make sure you factor every single thing into play to ultimately decide if Florida and even Tampa as a whole is right for you. Biggest things that I hear all the time is a growing job market. And yeah, it's true, but it's also in specific industries that are not high paying. We're talking about service and hospitality. Amusement parks are growing left and right. And with the rising cost of everything, especially here in Tampa and all throughout Florida, you're gonna need to make a little bit more money. High paying jobs, especially in software, in tech, or SaaS, there's better opportunities. I'm just gonna put it like that. And sure, the cost of living in Florida is also still a tad bit lower than certain other places. And because of that, the amount of money you're gonna make, it's gonna fluctuate, right? We get that. Here's the thing. Most of the individuals that are getting these high six-figure paying jobs, they're also looking at other markets because they've got other opportunities as well. Right now, we are in one of the worst job markets in history. But individuals that still have job offers and still have jobs, well, they're taking multiple things into account, and not just the weather, not just the payment, but also location to go with it. If you're thinking about coming to Florida and you don't have a job, you don't have a career, listen, I will strongly incentivize you and encourage you to start looking at options that, number one, could be potentially remote, or number two, have a job that's lined up before you do anything. Listen, one of the biggest things that I worry about all the time is my elderly parents, right? My parents are getting to, well, honestly, the ages where they have to start seeing doctors more regularly. And I'll tell this to you straight up. Our healthcare system is absolutely amazing. And that is the problem, is we have amazing hospitals, we have amazing doctors, we have amazing, but with that, because of this amazing thing, combine that with the fact that so many people are coming here left and right, it's too swamped. I say that kind of as a jokingly swamped Florida, you know. Yeah, I know you get it. I know you get it. But it is swamped, and I'm not kidding around. We have so many people that just to get a specialist takes months on end. I had a friend of mine that just wanted to see a dermatologist. She called and said, hey, listen, what's the wait time? They said 9 months out. Yeah, 9 months. So listen, if you have any kind of previous health conditions, there's specific things that you have to take care of. Take care of that before you migrate here. Understand all of these things as a whole, because the last thing that you want is to come here and just be screwed. One of the biggest things that I hear all the time, and honestly, this is something that affected me as well, is we have a lot of partners of ours in real estate, right? That's our bread and butter. That's how we make money. Is we have a lot of individuals that we partner with, both as mortgage lenders, as realtors that we're in conversations with. I'm from Nepal. I'm also from Rochester, New York. And I hear it all the time, and I think that's something you will as well. And that's the mindset of the Floridian, can't pronounce it correctly. We will always be an outsider. And that mental challenge, it's tough on certain days. They're going to blame you for everything. Traffic, higher cost of living, taking jobs away. People that live in Florida are going to make you the person that created the problems. And for a lot of individuals, that's a really tough battle to combat. I'll be honest with you, it's tough to hear that you are the reason why something sucks, right? To them, you will always be an outsider, and that's something you have to be okay with. I'm not saying that there aren't kind people here in Florida. There are, all the time. But you have to make sure that you realize there's also some really, really mean people as well. But hey, that's what I want to talk to you about. If none of these things scare you, none of these things put you astray, then come to Florida. We have over 361 days of sunshine a year. It's the most amazing, amazing state in the entire country. I think you would love Florida too if these things don't scare you. Come to Tampa. And by the way, we actually did an entire video on just Tampa, on why you shouldn't come to Tampa. I want to make sure you have all this information. It's super duper important that you do. I'm gonna put that video right here. Watch it, and I'll see you soon. Peace.